Hey, everyone. How are you doing? I know you're like, what is going on? It's too light outside of this video, but we're going to explain what's happening, okay? Welcome back for 31 days of healthy relationship tips. We are almost at the end. We are on day 22, and this is the week that we are kicking off how to have an amazing and healthy relationship with yourself. And so without further ado, let's jump into it because I had to get on with my girl, Latasha Matthews, because she is all about setting boundaries, but she is basically going to give us some tips and nuggets today about how to do that with yourself. So, Ms. Tasha, tell the people who you are, what it is that you do, and where you are located.
Thank you for having me. I am Latasha Matthews, and I love this young lady to pieces. I am in Lawrenceville, Georgia. I'm a licensed professional counselor, clinical supervisor, author, speaker, and I am known as America's emotional wellness expert, getting you together with those boundaries.
Yes. Y'all got that? She said America. So she is like touching all over. All right. So we have the best of the best this week, and we're kicking it off with the amazing Miss Tasha Matthews. Latasha to y'all. Latasha Matthews.
Right. we can shorten it for the people. Tasha's fine.
I'll share. Okay, so let's do this. Let's jump right into it because we have about 30 minutes.
Okay.
You guys, this is free, but it's good information to catapult you into 2020 the right way. We're not talking about resolutions. We're talking about lifestyle changes.
Yes.
All right. Tasha, be true to yourself. Take us through what this means.
Well, it's a pretty simple statement, but I think if I would just be transparent, there have been times in my life when I was fake to myself and true to others. And so when I talk about being true to yourself, that's going to require you to first recognize that you matter more than the people in your circle, right? We have this notion that if I take care of myself, then I am being selfish. And so me and you both know that that is not true.
Correct. I'm still stuck on fake to myself and true to my friends. And I'm still stuck on what you said over a year ago when you said, if you don't question my yes, please don't question my no. And I'm sure she'll get into that too, y'all. So, I'm still stuck there. Not stuck in a bad way, but in a good way, meaning it was profound and impacted me. You got to go a little bit deeper into this whole fake to myself and true to my friends. Yeah. That's like, ouch.
Yeah. I ain't trying to hurt the people right away. But oftentimes, if we're really being honest, Sharon, we were born with, I would say, messages and lies, right? And so sometimes we have lived out those lies. For example, if I was told that I wasn't good enough, or I received a message that I wasn't good enough, unless someone helps you correct the message or you correct the message yourself, you are operating a lie that says, I'm not good enough. And that lie will travel with you throughout your relationships, within your family of origin, in your job places, in your friendships. And so we have to make sure that we are breaking the lie, getting rid of the lie, burying it, and coming up with the truth about ourselves.
So again, as the common theme from every week, it's as we said, it's be intentional, but it's almost like, again, this is about doing that work within yourself.
Yes.
So it's uncomfortable, but it's necessary.
Yes.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've done is, and it's a good exercise to do, hold a mirror up to yourself. If you hold that mirror up to yourself, one of the things you will notice is that the person in the mirror stays the same. Like, I'm not going to magically disappear, but the thoughts about the person is the only thing that we can change. So when you're being true to yourself, you have to change those thoughts about yourself. A lot of times we're trying to put on these cute little lipstick and these cute little earrings and hold the mirror up, and we think we see a different person, but nothing has changed with our thought life and our belief about ourselves, because we're still living a lie.
Right. And I know y'all looking over at y'all mirror going, do I want to get up and go look at myself right now? But I think that that's profound, Tasha, in and of itself, because I think we do get up and we put on that face and we do those things, but we have so many thoughts and stuff that we are contending with from the time we get up in the morning until we get to the end of the day. What would you tell that person that says, I have a hard time shifting that thinking?
Well, one of the things I learned to do is sometimes it's difficult to be positive Polly, where you just go from this negative thought to this positive extreme thought. So one of the things that I began to do, and I tell clients and people that I'm working with to do, is let's get the neutral thought. So if you can't be positive about yourself, there is something neutral that you saw this week. For example, if we're talking about, I am ugly and I'm not beautiful, and you can't shift to beautiful, then I know that you can find something neutrally beautiful that you saw that gets you out of that negative zone and at least gets you in that neutral zone. Then you can shift to something positive about yourself. So sometimes it's not the extremes, it's right in the middle.
Right. Okay. All right. So y'all got that. I'm talking to y'all. We know this is pre-recorded, but I'm talking to you as if I'm with you, because I'm going to be on live when we're watching this. So I need to make sure that you get what is actually being said to you. We laugh and we joke about it being free information, but it's meant to be impactful.
Yes.
So I hope that you got it. We still have a long ways to go. We just got on. We just getting the show started. So, and if you're tuning in, please let us know where you are joining us from, city and state. Say hi so that Tasha knows that you have connected with us. Because that's important. We want to connect with you. And please put in your questions and comments. We will be responding to those during and after the segment. So don't feel like, oh, if you missed it, you can't put the question in. And yes, you can. We will be alerted and we will respond. So please make sure you do so. We want to hear from you. Okay. So Tasha, we got the whole piece of working on not being fake with ourselves, holding up that mirror and saying, okay, it's time for me to be vulnerable with myself and taking the test to see what that really looks like. And then we have some steps to say, how do we make that shift? What are some things that you really have seen with people that has been a struggle over the years?
Well, again, because this is the vulnerability hot seat, and a moment to be transparent, because a lot of times when individuals are listening to 31 Days or anyone else that's speaking, they probably think that we don't have our own stuff. Yeah. They think that we're experts here, just just sharing information. But I am here to really dispel that myth that just because we are here speaking, that doesn't mean that we haven't struggled in particular areas. And so one of the areas that's a passion area for me is these boundaries, right? And so because I have struggled with boundaries with self in a lot of different areas, I think that that's an area that people struggle with. The research shows that if you are unable to set a boundary, it increases increases depression, increases anxiety, and it causes a lot of internal problems with liver, intestines, headaches, and a lot of other areas. So sometimes we believe that, depression and anxiety is you're genetically inclined, but if you would just learn how to just be authentic and say no, or say yes to what you want to do and no to what you don't, that would reduce a whole bunch of anxiety. I know it has for me, just being a business owner, being a single woman, I have learned that if I can't open up my mouth and speak my truth, then I am setting myself up for a big ball of anxiety, headaches, heart palpitations, and stomach aches.
Right. This is good. I agree with you 100%. I think it took me years to get to that point. And sometimes I think I still struggle with it because you got to know what to say no to. And sometimes you realize that there are some things you're like, well, no, I do need to go ahead and do that. And so I think that that's always a challenge for people. And I like how you said people think that we are the experts, therefore we have it all together and we're walking around like the clinician Pollyanna. And that's not the case, like you said. It's not. The reality is that it is painful, but I also like how you talked about the manifestation of how the choices you make is maintaining your body and how it impacts your health. So the other thing that you didn't mention, but people often say, I have stomach issues, I have digestion issues. These are things that are connected to the choices that you make. The body keeps the score, y'all. The body is holding on to how you deal with things, but also things that have happened to you that probably dictate how you respond and communicate with people now. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah. And can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
The body does keep score. And just like any other area of our life, sometimes we tend to avoid listening to the body, just like we avoid looking at financials, or we avoid saying no or saying yes. We have to pause for a moment and really allow our body to tell us a story. It's always speaking. It's always whispering. Sometimes it's a loud thunder, but we want to distract it and close it out instead of allowing it to speak to us and telling us what it needs. Mm-hmm. Our body will tell us exactly what it needs. Yeah. When we don't get enough water, our mouth is dry. It is an indication that we need to guzzle. Mm-hmm. When we have pains, it's for an alarm. It's for us to notice it and do something about it. But a lot of times what we do is we then stuff it and put something else on top of it instead of just listening to what it says.
Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about how to help people understand the importance of paying attention to those smaller alarms, because you talk about that big alarm. And I think that's the problem that a lot of people have, is that they wait until that big alarm or that big siren goes off for the town versus the smoke detector in the house.
Yes.
Can you talk about how to help them pay attention to that smaller beep that happens when the battery needs to be changed?
Yeah, so that's a great analogy. So, and I'll use that analogy to kind of, talk about the smaller things that show up. So in a home, you have the smoke alarm. That the bigger issue with the smoke alarm is that there's fire, right? And so if you didn't have the smoke alarm, your house will probably burn down. But when you think about your everyday issues that may arise, a lot of it has to deal with your core beliefs. So for example, the house, the structure, the smoke detector goes with the house. So that is a part of the house. Yes. Most homes will have a smoke detector because that's a part of the structure. So you have to think about what's a part of your structure. What is your morals? What are your values? What are the things that are important to you? And then when you start to feel those little, then you need to go back to your core belief. For example, if your core belief is, I need to save X amount of money, and that you look in your bank account and you haven't done that, then there is going to be some consequences. So when those consequences come up, and they continue to come up, then those are the small things. It's not just this big, okay, I'm going bankrupt. Right. Bankruptcy starts way before bankruptcy. Yeah. It starts with the thoughts in your mind. It starts with you making negative choices because of X, Y, and Z. And so you have to look at the small pieces, the negative choices. You have to look at your thoughts about spending. It's a whole story about a person who went bankrupt. And so it doesn't start with, oh my gosh, I'm going bankrupt. And so I think we just have to break it down and really, again, be true to ourselves and really, and if we don't know what being true to ourselves is, we need to sit with someone to help with that identity conflict that we're having, and then develop some true core beliefs that will guide the guiding principles that will help you begin to start to think about the alarm. You can't hear the alarm if there's nothing to alarm.
Right. That's true. That is true. I hope y'all are getting this. We're about halfway through, and you got to pay attention to the whole structure. I think that's where we all probably go wrong, that we look at things in parts. So thank you for breaking that down in that way, because I think people need to understand you got to have a bigger lens for all of you. Like, nobody goes to the nail shop and just paint one toe, right? So, so think about it that way. When you're going for a pedicure, you're going to tend to both feet. You don't go, let's do my right foot. If you think about it from that perspective. Okay, Tasha, so I don't want to detour too much, because I want to make sure we get everything in terms of all the nuggets that you have for people. So what are some pressing things that you feel the people need to hear today, in addition to what you have already shared?
I think one of the areas that is very important for me, and when I started to shift my thinking, is if you have, again, foundational principles, whether it's your relationship with God, that you really lean into some of those principles and begin to follow them. Because what happens a lot of times, if you're not tapping into your core beliefs, for example, boundary setting can be very easy until you find yourself not setting them. What happens at that point is then you begin to have very rigid boundaries, because now you're trying to backtrack and put in place what you didn't have before. And so it's much more labor intensive to set boundaries later than it is to do it in the beginning. So you're thinking about, we're thinking about our relationships with God and the structure that He's put in place for us. He's given us everything that we need. And so again, it goes back to that identity. If you're going outside of what He says you need, then you're going to struggle with having rigid boundaries later on, because He's giving you the provision. So one of the things you have to first realize is, what is your why? What is your why in relationships? What is your why in finances? What is your why in health and wellness? What is your why in success? And make sure that why is tied to something bigger than yourself.
Wow.
And that could be your relationship with God.
Wow. So making sure that faith is a part of your journey as you find you and fix you. Can you talk a little bit about people making a choice to maneuver in this way, not from an angry standpoint? And what I mean is, a lot of times, because what I'm hearing you say is making a choice, a conscious decision, thinking it through, being aware. But there are people who make choices to take better care of them based on them being upset with other people who they felt did not treat them right. Where the response is, oh, well, I'm gonna show them, I'm gonna do better for me. I hear that a lot, where the choice is because they're upset that someone didn't do something. So now they're going to choose to take care of them out of anger.
Yeah. So you're talking about, the close cousins, I would call them resentment and unforgiveness. Resentment and unforgiveness always shows up in a very self-righteous, let me show you, ha, ha, ha. And what will happen is that you will go on this journey to show people. And then we get back to the point where you're not being authentic. And once you do it and you don't get the internal response that you need, then you continue to do it. So there's this, okay, I want to do it and I want to show this person, but nothing changes inside of you. It's typically not going to make you feel better. It breeds more unforgiveness and anger because you're going to have to top the next thing that you do. And so again, it goes back to you're all over the place as far as focusing on someone else, which again, we're here talking about self. So you can't focus on self and focus on someone else at the same time. Both of those can't exist in the same space. So choose one, preferably you, because someone else is choosing themselves. So you might as well choose yourself as well.
Right. And just so that you guys understand, what we're talking about this week is not saying that we're being selfish to the extent that we disregard people. That is not what tending to self or self-care or having a relationship with yourself means. What we are saying is that you have to learn how to not reduce yourself in the process of tending to others. You have to make sure that you're not dismissing yourself in the process of tending to others. And so we're saying that you matter.
Yes. You doggone right, you matter. So, you know, and I know you use this analogy a lot, but, you know, I travel often, and I wasn't aware that the little flight attendant would come on and say, you know, hey, before you think about this person, you better put that mask down on you and make sure you're good. So just think, you know, I don't want anybody to get in an airplane crash or anything like that. But if they're telling you that it's more important for you to put the mask on yourself to make sure you're good, then why is it not okay for you to do that just in the free world? You cannot serve or give from an empty well, an empty cup, an empty bottle, an empty pot. Nothing empty will grow. If you think about a flower, you know, I love analogies. If you think about a flower, if you took the seed and put the seed down in the pot and put some water in the pot, guess what? The flower is not growing because it's missing some crucial ingredients. So that's the same with us. If we start to do all these things for other people and we are not filling ourselves, we're not going to grow. And really the person that you're doing and giving for, they're really going to be enabled because you are giving more to them than they're giving to themselves. So sometimes, and this just popped in my spirit, sometimes we are getting in God's way of allowing someone else to have their own freedom journey when we are stepping over into someone else's business, doing more for them than they're doing for themselves. So let that person have their journey, help when you can, but make sure you're good while you're helping someone else.
So what I just heard, and y'all gonna laugh, is mind your business.
Yes.
Mind your business. Meaning mind your business. And if you have a concern, hey, sis, hey, bro, are you good? Not, oh, let me do this for you. Let me handle this. Okay, I called this person, and they may not have asked you for that. What we're saying is tend to you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's enough there. It's enough there to be handled that you don't ever have to tend to anyone else.
But here's the problem. A lot of people just don't want to tend. It's easier to tend out there than it is to tend at home sometimes. And it only becomes easy when you make the choice to give it more attention and you realize it's necessary for growth. Yeah. It's necessary for survival.
And the other piece is sometimes you have to terminate some relationships. I think that's a piece that we don't talk about. Setting a boundary and tending to you will oftentimes cause others to not like that. if that is the case, that is an amazing boundary. Stay with it, but know that while you're taking care of yourself, you may lose some people along the way. But as you lose some people along the way, it creates space for you to gain the appropriate people that's going to serve you just as you serve them.
So, so are you also saying that have that courage to connect with the right people so that you can continue to grow?
Yes, have the courage to connect with the right people, but also have the courage to lose the people that are not your people. Sometimes we hang out with people and let people in our inner, I would say the inner courts and outer courts. In the Bible, they talked about this inner court and this outer court. But sometimes people were able to wiggle into this inner space, whether it's we've known each other since we were 2 or we have a professional relationship with each other, and they're just there taking up space, like a shoe that's too small. You know how your foot is right up at the top and it's crunching because your toes are taking up the front of the shoe.
Right.
You got to expand the shoe. And sometimes expanding the shoe means throwing away the shoe and getting a whole new shoe.
Treat yourself. So I have one more question for you. I have one more. Talk about how when people are, when you're in that position, I want you to speak to the viewer that has this as a hard time. But maybe they don't know that it's a difficult situation for them. But when they find something new for themselves, they think everyone is supposed to follow suit. Can you speak to that a little bit?
So is this the person who wants to bring everybody along with them?
Not necessarily along, but they want them on the same page. Well, I've been doing this and it works for me. You should do that.
Oh, okay.
Versus allowing it to just be their journey.
Yeah. I guess if I'm speaking to that person, I would say if you're not comfortable with journeying by yourself, you're going to get lost in journeying with a lot of other people. One of the peaceful places that I have learned to enjoy is just being by myself, taking some journeys of courageous movements without, needing to call somebody to get affirmation or validation. Just learning to sit in that space by yourself with the pain, with the sadness, with the loneliness, again, become some beautiful stories if you're willing to listen. I think sometimes when you think about journeying by yourself, it has to be this place of humdrum because we're so used to crowding ourselves with a whole bunch of sound. Learn to appreciate the silent moments and the times when there's no one there. Use that time to hear from God. Use that time to see what He wants to tell you. Oftentimes He's speaking, but you can't hear Him.
Y'all got a lot. I think we covered about 10,000 things. I'm exaggerating on the numbers, but that's what it felt like. And it was profound and impactful. So when you spread the word tonight, tell them it was fire.
Yes, fire. Shut up in your bones, fire.
So, Tasha, I adore you. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Truly appreciate you for joining me on this journey. As you said to me, you was like, you doing it. We 22 days in. I'm like, yes, Lord. But it's been amazing, and I'm glad to have you with me and sharing with the people. I think it's needed, and it's a great way to kick off week 4, y'all. Week 4, having healthy relationships with self. So to close us out, Ms. Tasha, tell the people what's coming up for you. Wait. Hold on. I got one. Any additional tips? Because I gotta make sure we don't miss nothing. Yeah, it's free, y'all. Free 99. Anything else you want to add?
It's awesome because we're approaching this 2020, and my thoughts with 2020 is 2020 is going to just really look like 2019 if you don't really set some intentions. So don't get caught up in the hype of, oh, it's a new year. It's a new year every year if you're alive, to be honest. So begin to be thankful about just being alive and really begin to appreciate the life minutes that you have and get out of it what you want to get out of it. Don't let anybody bully you into what they want for you. Just make sure that you're intentional about taking what the Lord has given you and taking it by force. Sometimes you gotta like grab it and take it by force. Sometimes it's not, oh, I'm taking it. Sometimes it's fighting to take it, to keep it, to love it, to get your peace. It's gnawing. So just make sure that you are focused on your intentional acts for yourself and begin to remove things that is not pleasing or serving you.
Awesome. Woo. This is good stuff.
It is.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I know I have some tips for me. I don't know about y'all, but if you don't want it, I'll take it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So now I do want you to tell the people what is coming up for you as we close out 2019 or in 2020, and how can they connect with you on social media, or how can they connect with you in Lawrenceville, Georgia?
Yes. So a lot is coming in, wrapping up in 2019 and 2020. I have a lot of product coming out, boundary setting cards for clinicians, professionals, couples. And so be on the lookout for those cards and those items. You'll be able to use them with, friends and family. You'll be able to use them with supervisees, and you'll also be able to use them with your teens. I think it's very important for us to build up a generation that's not struggling adults. So we have a lot of struggling adults. And so I think we have to reach back and be able to tap into our youth, so they will have some different skills when they are adults. I'm going to be with Miss Sharon. We're doing our Prepare Enrich online throughout the year. So if you haven't been able to take part in that, it's impactful, and you want to make sure that you are in the seat with us. Our dates are posted as well. I am looking at creating opportunities for online training for general population. A lot of times
I think we lost Miss Tasha, but we're going to see if she can reconnect, because we want to close this out. Let's see. We are not ending just yet, because she has some updates on some training. So you guys bear with me for 1 minute as she reconnects. This stuff is important. So one of the things I can tell you about Prepare Enrich, if you guys are interested, if you are clinicians or clergy and you are interested in taking training to work with couples, we strongly encourage you to please sign up. The training website is www.mysalawellness.com/PE online. And the cool thing about that is that you have an opportunity not only to learn how to work with couples, but we're going to train you in really going through some conflict resolution stuff. So make sure you go to www.mysalawellness.com/PE online. And we have Ms. Tasha, who is back with us. She's back with us. So we had a little pause there, but I kept talking.
I knew you would. You're a pro at this. I knew you would have kept talking. So my apologies. So, but yes, she wrapped up the PE online. But if you're interested in following me, I have a boundary setting book called the dumpinggroundbook.com, and you can find that on the dumpinggroundbook.com or on Facebook at the Dumping Ground Book. Everything else is IllumiNation CC. My company's name is IllumiNation Counseling and Coaching. And also, if you're interested in me speaking, you can go to LatashaMatthews.com. TMAC Speaks on Instagram and IllumiNation CC.
Awesome. Yeah, I got it all here. Thank you again, Miss Tasha. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm glad to be on this journey with you. We got a lot of moving parts together, so I'm excited. Thank you.
Yes, yes, I love you as well. And listeners, please, 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 if you have not been able to check out the 21 days, the 22 days, find them, listen to them, save them in your resources. I have all 22 days, it'll be 22 days now, saved in my resources so I can go back and listen to them again, and make sure that you are recording the next few days, because we've had some amazing speakers, and I've been listening as well, even though I'm a speaker also. And so the nuggets, you can share those nuggets with others. And it's just very important for when there's good information out there that you tap into it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that. Yes, please save them. Also, go over to my YouTube channel, My Sailor Wellness, and subscribe. Let's get those numbers up, so because the more numbers we have, the more it becomes available to other people. It starts to pop up in their feed as they search for things. So let's get this free information out there. Also, every single day that we have been interviewing speakers like Miss Matthews, I am uploading to that YouTube channel, so you can set your own playlist. You can do what you need to do. You can easily share it with someone if it's too difficult and you haven't had a chance to set up a resource file on Facebook. So you have two options, Facebook and YouTube. But make sure you connect to one and share with someone that you love. So thank you again for tuning in with us. And until next time, have a good evening.
Bye.